Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you all? I hope you all are doing good. In today's lesson, we are going to learn about writing. What kind of writing? Writing letters. Yes. In today's lesson, we will be learning about how to write a letter. So, before diving into the format of the letter, let me first tell you what is a letter and why do we write a letter. A letter is a written message that can be handwritten or printed on paper. It is usually sent to the recipient via mail or post. The basic purpose of a letter is to convey a message. It bridges communication gap between two or more parties. A letter can create awareness, inform or provoke a thought in the receiver or the mass. A well-written letter is a good way to express one's feelings. So basically, a letter is a communication in written form. Now, let us see the types of letters. Letters are categorized into two types. First is formal letter, then informal letter. In the last video, we have seen how to write the informal letter and the format of informal letter with an example. I hope you all have done the homework. Let me just give you a brief of informal letter, then we will quickly proceed to the formal letter. Informal letter. Informal letter, also referred to as a friendly letter, is a personal letter written to friends or relatives. It is written in personal fashion. You can write it to anyone with whom you have a non-professional relationship. Even in the age of text messaging and email, one of the benefits of the letter writing is that you can keep the letters you receive to read and enjoy again. Now, coming to the formal letter. The formal letter is written for business or professional purposes with a specific objective in mind. We live in a world of technology-backed communication. Email or text, etc., are most of our preferred modes of communication. However, letters still have a major use and importance in our society, especially formal letters written to authorities or professional contacts because they generally stay on record. Let us learn the correct format and language of formal letters. Children, you may need to write a formal letter to get information, raise a complaint, apply for a job, or simply to express your opinion. A formal letter differs from informal letter in both format and language. The language of a formal letter is formal, polite, and precise. Content is kept brief and may even be written in points if several matters are raised in the letter. Now, let us see how a formal letter language differs from informal letter language. Okay? So, in informal letter, we use contractions. Now, you guys must be wondering what are contractions. Okay, didn't, couldn't, wouldn't, hasn't, haven't. So, if you see a verb with an apostrophe and a T, that is a contraction. Okay, let me repeat it for you again. If you see a verb with an apostrophe and then a T, that is a contraction. Okay, it is very important to know this because in formal writing we don't use contractions. Okay, didn't would be did not, couldn't would be could not, haven't would be have not, hasn't would be has not, can't would be cannot. Okay, so that's one major difference. Another major difference between a formal and informal writing is the use of idioms. Okay, the use of certain expressions. Okay, if I am writing to my friend, maybe I will say, oh, I have been very sick. This is just an informal way of communicating with your friend, saying that, that I am very sick. So if I am writing a formal letter, I will not use idioms. Those are not good to use in formal writing. Okay. Next is phrasal verb. This is another thing we find in informal writing. Now, what is a phrasal verb? It is a verb that has a preposition. Okay? A phrasal verb is a verb that has a preposition. Example, find out, go up. Here, find is a verb and out is a preposition. Go is a verb and up is a preposition. So, the preposition adds a different meaning to the verb. Phrasal verbs are kind of difficult to learn, but it is not impossible to learn it. So, we will surely learn about the phrasal verbs soon, inshallah. So, in informal writing, we will use phrasal verb, whereas in formal writing, we don't use phrasal verbs. We usually use longer words that mean the same thing. Okay, so instead of find out, we can use the more formal word as discover. Both have the same meaning, but the writing will be different. We use in informal we use the word called find out, whereas in formal we use the word called discover. Go up. Okay, now let me give you an example of go up. Okay, for example, the prices have gone up, which means the prices have increased. So, increased is more formal. Okay, now next is abbreviation. Now, what is abbreviation? Abbreviation is nothing but the short form of a verb. TV. We can use the abbreviation TV in informal letter, but in formal letter we cannot use abbreviation. We have to use the full word, that is television. So, what does this mean? Do not use abbreviation in formal writing. You can use TV in informal writing, don't use abbreviation in formal writing. Okay? And the most commonly used abbreviation these days is ASAP, which means as soon as possible. So in informal writing, you can use ASAP. Okay, kindly reply me ASAP. You can use this in informal writing. But when it comes to the formal writing, you cannot use the abbreviation. Instead, you should use the complete word, that is as soon as possible. Okay, that is another difference. Now the next difference is exclamatory words or sentences. Okay, so when you're writing a letter to your friend, colleague, or your relative, you can use the exclamatory sentences to describe your emotions. Okay, now for example, if any of your friend might have sent you a gift, you could say, wow, the gift you have sent was very much liked by all my family. So you can use these exclamatory words or sentences, whereas in formal writing you cannot use these exclamatory sentences. So instead of using exclamatory sentences, you should completely describe your emotion in the formal letters. Okay, that's the another difference. Next is a lot. So for example, you can use the word called a lot in your sentences in informal letter. For example, I have a lot of friends, I have a lot to say to you, I have a lot to teach you. Okay, you can use this in informal writing, whereas when you're writing a formal letter, you cannot use this. You have to replace the a lot with many or much. Okay, a lot will be replaced with many or much. Instead of writing I have a lot of friends, you can say I have many friends. Okay, I hope you all are clear with the differences between formal and informal letter language. Now let us see the format of the formal letter. Okay, a formal letter must have 8 things in it. Okay, a formal letter must have 8 things in it. That is sender's detail, that is name and address of the sender. Then second is date. Then third is receiver's detail. Then salutation. Then subject. Then body of the letter. Then complementary clause. Then the last is name and signature. That is the designation of the letter. Okay, the designation of the person who is writing a letter. Okay, now let me explain you in brief the format of the letter. Okay, so as you can observe on the screen, the first thing we have to write when we are writing a formal letter is sender's address. The sender's address is followed the sender's address is usually put on the top right hand corner of the page. The address should be complete and accurate in case the recipient of the letter wishes to get in touch with the sender for further communication. Okay, so the first thing is sender's address. Then leave a blank line. Then the sender's address is followed by the date just below it, that is on the right hand side of the page. This is the date on which the letter is being written. It is important in formal letter as they are often kept on record. Okay, then after a letter, leave some space. Then comes the receiver's address. Okay, after leaving some space, we print the receiver's address on the left hand side of the page. Whether to write two above the address depends on the writer's preference. Okay, if you want to write the two before writing the address, it's up to you. If you don't want to write the two before writing the address, it's completely fine, you can skip the two. Okay, then make sure that you write the official title, name, position, etc. of the receiver as the first line of the address. Okay, then comes the salutation. Salutation is nothing but this is where you greet the person you are addressing the letter to. Okay, bear in mind that it is a formal letter, so the greeting must be respectful and not too personal. The general greetings used in formal letters are sir or madam. If you know the name of the person, the salutation may also be Mr. XYZ or Miss ABC, but you cannot address them only by their first name. It must be full name or only their last name. Okay, then comes the subject. So after the salutation or greeting comes the subject. So the subject followed by a colon. Then we sum up the purpose of writing the letter in one line. This helps the receiver focus on the subject of the letter in one glance. Okay, so the letter subject should not be more than one line. Okay, then comes the body of the letter. This is the main content of the letter. It is either divided into 3 paras or 2 paras. If the letter is briefer, the purpose of the letter should be made clear in the first paragraph itself. The tone of the content should be formal, to not use any flowery language. Another point to keep in mind is that the letter should be concise and to the point, and always be respectful and considerate in your language, no matter the subject of your letter. Okay, the body of the letter is actually the message of your letter, the purpose of your letter, that why you are actually writing a letter. So the body of the letter is actually divided into 3 paras. The first paragraph should have the introduction, that is nothing but the purpose of the letter, and then the next para should have the main content, that is the detailed information of why you're writing a letter, and the third paragraph should be the summary, that is nothing but you are summarizing the information in the third paragraph. Okay, then comes the complementary closure or the subscription. Okay, at the end of the letter we write the complementary closure, that is nothing but yours faithfully or yours sincerely are printed. Okay, so if we don't know the person we are writing a letter to, we use yours faithfully. Kindly note that there should be no apostrophe in yours. Yours should be written without an apostrophe. Okay, so if we are writing yours faithfully, if we don't know the person we are writing a letter to, and you can use yours sincerely if we know the person we are writing a letter to. Okay, I hope it is clear. Then comes a sender's name and signature. That is nothing but first you have to do a signature, and then you below the signature you have to write your complete name, so that the recipient will know who is sending the letter. Okay, I hope you all are clear with the format of the letter. Okay, now let me just give you an example of a formal letter. Okay, so you are Amar or Sheila, a student of XYZ school, Hyderabad. You are concerned about the water logging in your area during rainy season. Write a letter to the editor of a newspaper highlighting the need to improve the condition of road. So basically here you have to assume yourself as Amar or Sheila. Okay, So you are a student of XYZ school, Hyderabad, and now here you are writing a letter to the editor of a newspaper, okay, because you are concerned about the water logging is nothing but the saturation of soil with water, which usually happens during the rainy season. So you are writing a letter to the editor of the newspaper highlighting the need to improve the condition of the road. Okay, I hope you all are clear with the question. Now let us see how we can write this letter. So first it's a sender address. So as mentioned in the question that it is an XYZ school. So we are writing the address as XYZ Public School, 3 Ring Road, XYZ Colony, Hyderabad, followed by the pin code. Okay. So note that there should be no commas or full stop after the address, sender's address. Then we are leaving one line space and then we are writing a date. For example, if I am writing a letter on the 17th of June, so I will write 17th June 2020. So basically this is the format of writing a date in a letter. Then again leave one line space and then comes the receiver's address. So as I told you while explaining the format of the letter, it is completely up to you whether you want to write to before writing the editor. Okay, if you want to write to the editor, then it's completely fine, you can write to. And if you don't want to write the to, then you can completely skip the to and directly you can write the editor. Okay, the editor, XYZ newspaper, Hyderabad, then followed by the pin code. I hope this is clear. Okay, then next comes the salutation. Okay, so respected sir or madam. So we are writing a formal letter, so instead of using dear sir or madam, which is an informal way of communicating, better use a respected word, respected sir or madam, as we don't know whether the letter we are writing to is a male or female. So we can write respected sir or madam, comma, and then leave one line space. Then we are writing the subject. So now the subject should be very short and precise, so that whenever the receiver is receiving a letter, with one glance he should understand what the letter is all about. Okay, so now the subject is here is water conservation. Okay, so we are writing a letter to the editor of the chief, because of the water logging in our area. So the subject is water conservation. Okay, then start the letter. I am Sheila, student of XYZ school, Hyderabad, class 8. I am writing this letter with concern regarding the poor condition of road. During the rainy season, there is a water logging everywhere, which makes it difficult for the commuters to walk or ride their bicycle or even car. Okay, so in the first paragraph we are clearly stating who we are introducing ourselves, and where are we writing the letter from, and then we are just giving a hint on why we are writing the letter. Then comes the next paragraph. In the next paragraph we will be writing the details of the matter. Okay, it is extremely dangerous for people to come out of their house during rainy season, as there are potholes on the road which further lead to accident. Not only accident become a concern, but for people living near such areas are also at risk due to the borne of various diseases like dengue. An awareness must be created regarding this condition. Okay, so here we are ending our second paragraph. So in the second paragraph we have clearly stated that how the waterlogging is dangerous, and how it may lead to accidents, and how it has a risk of various diseases like dengue, etc. Okay, so in the second paragraph we have clearly gave a detail about why we are writing a letter. And now in the third paragraph we will be writing we will be summarizing our letter. It is my humble request that you highlight this issue in your newspaper and spread awareness among the public media, as media is one of the most powerful tools these days. It holds the power to make or break the kingdom, and can definitely urge the government and the public to be more responsible towards water problems and measures for improving the roads. Okay, so in the last paragraph we have some basically summarized that what help we want from the newspaper. Okay, so then the last will be the we are closing the letter. I hope you will consider this small request and take action on it. Thanking you in anticipating. Then after that, we are ending a letter with yours sincerely. Uh, that is Sheila. You are basically doing a signature, and below the signature, you will be writing your full name. Okay. I hope you all are clear with the format of writing a formal letter. So now I'm gonna be giving you a home assignment. Now you have to write a formal letter. The question is, you live in an apartment building but are having trouble with the behavior of your neighbors. Write a letter to inform the building manager of the situation. In your letter, you will have to include the following points. That is, you have to explain who you are, you have to describe the situation concerning your neighbor behavior, and then you have to suggest how the situation could be dealt with. I hope it is clear to you, and I hope to see your letter responses soon through WhatsApp. Till then, see you in the next class. Have a good day ahead.